America is an amazing country filled with wonderful people who do incredible things. But too often, the media and liberal politicians ignore big parts of our nation and the people who make it work. So I'm speaking with leaders and policymakers who deal with real problems every day. I'm Ronna McDaniel, and this is Real America. Today, I'm going to be speaking with two of the first Korean American women to ever serve in the House of Representatives, California Congresswomen Young Kim and Michelle Steele. We're going to learn about their backstories and what motivates them to serve their constituents in Congress. We'll cover diversity within the Republican Party and their legislative priorities heading into their first re-election bids this fall. We've never done this before where we've had two guests at the same time. I'm so excited to have my friends on. I'm going to ask them to each introduce themselves.
I'm Michelle Steele. I represent California 48th Congressional District, Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, and Laguna Beach, all the beautiful cities. And it's going to be changed. So next year, I'm going to represent California 45th District.
Hi, I'm Young Kim. I currently represent California's 39th Congressional District, and I'm running for 40th District for re-election.
Welcome to Real America.
Well, thanks for having us.
I'm so excited to have you guys.
Thank you for inviting us.
I want to take just a minute to introduce you to folks because you're part of this wave of freshman House members. California was key to us picking up those 15 seats, but you've got great personal stories. So Michelle, can you just tell us a little bit of your story coming to the United States and then how you ended up in Congress?
You know, actually, I was born in Korea and raised in Japan. So I speak Korean as my first and Japanese my second.
Really?
Yeah, my mother was a teacher since I was one. So I wanted to be a good housewife. I don't know what happened now, but that's the way it started. And then my father passed away. My father was a diplomat. And my mom followed me. Actually, my pronunciation got really bad in Japan. So McDonald, I used to pronounce McDonaldo, and doctor is Dokutoro. And my father said, you have to go to America, learn proper English. So he sent me here, and then he passed away. So my mom followed with my two younger sisters.
Yeah.
And then she opened up the clothing shop. She was a teacher all her life in Korea and Japan. And, you know, clothing shop. Think about it. Never done that before. But she never cheated though, because she doesn't know how to cheat, right?
No.
Teachers. So my mom opened it. A few years later, it's a 7 days work. So she shut down. And then she said, let's move on to the building sandwich shop. It's 5 working days per week and then shorter hours. And then as soon as we did, tax agency hit her.
Yeah.
So she paid the taxes that she didn't owe, plus interest and penalty on the top of it. When that seat opened up, I told my husband, I'm running. That's what happened to my political
you
life.
were running. Well, and before that, you were on, was it the California
State Board of Equalization.
State Board of Equalization.
Mm-hmm.
And you were at
Right.
one time, the highest elected Asian American in the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm. I had 9 million constituents.
9 million constituents. I didn't even know that there was. What does the State Board of Equalization do?
They actually directly collect sales tax, but at the same time, it's a tax court in California. So when you have any tax problem between agencies, then you come there and then property taxes, personal taxes, sales taxes, you name it. And then we are the one final say.
And part of your reason for running was because of what you saw with your mom.
Taxpayer got harassed and, innocent taxpayer got harassed. And
I love that you did that you saw. And then you have a kind of a similar story in some ways with the California Assembly, but tell your story.
Sure. So I was born in South Korea in the aftermath of South Korean War. So I saw the devastation in South Korea. My family, most immigrant families, especially from South Korea, we didn't have much, but my parents made that tough decision and made the sacrifice to bring me and my family and siblings to America. I grew up on the island of Guam to finish my junior high school there.
I didn't know that.
And I remember regularly going down to the beach because my mom would take me down there and she would ask me to pick up cans and bottles. At the time, of course, I was just doing what my mom was telling me to do. But later I learned that she would go and recycle it. And then whatever the modest funds that she was able to raise, she would give it back to church. And that really helped to, put a down payment on our very first church in Guam. That church still stands.
I
Korean
bet
American
I've been to that
Presbyterian
church. 'Cause I've been to Guam.
That's the only one there.
Yeah,
right
I'll bet
now.
I've been there. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then after that, of course,
Yeah.
I came to Hawaii to finish my high school, came to California to go to USC. Fight on. We are both
Right on.
Trojans. And so I graduated from USC, went into private sector to work in a private sector as a controller. I studied accounting at USC.
Okay.
And then after that, I started my own business and met then State Senator Ed Royce. And from there, I had tremendous opportunity to understand what it's like to be in a political office, to be able to help our community. And lo and behold, 30 plus some years later, I would be given an opportunity to serve the very community where I raised my 4 grown children.
Oh my goodness.
And now we are mom, grandmas. Now we are trying to live that American dream that this country was so fortunate to provide that for us. Because my parents came here to give us that economic and educational opportunity we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So again, the fact that Michelle and I and many of us like immigrants are able to serve our community and our country this way, it really shows that American dream is real and it's alive. And we are working hard every single day to make sure that American dream continues for the next generation.
I love it. And part of the reason I wanted to have you on together, you're both powerhouses on your own, but it's because, one, you're the first 2 Korean American women to serve in Congress. 2, your districts neighbor each other.
Yes.
And you're both freshman congressional members. I know you're friends. But you're also from the state of California, which I think right now, when you look at California and the policies and the regulations and the things that are happening in California at the state level, not obviously you guys, it really represents a lot of what the Democrat Party stands for and what is wrong with what's happening in their party right now. So I'm going to talk to you both about a couple things and a lot of the issues that I think resonate around the country. Michelle, gas prices in California are higher than anywhere else in the country. What does this mean for your constituents? And you actually have a legislature right now pushing to take the gas tax even higher.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
That,
amazing.
you know what? I thought we already hit the bottom.
Yeah.
So all the people are against, who are serving right now in California, but I guess it's not yet. But gas price, actually, California delegation, we sent a letter out to repeal all the state gas tax. State gas tax is about 51 cents per gallon. Even we take that amount out, we are still paying the highest gas price in the nation.
It's crazy.
And then, you know what? Actually, they had a chance to vote to actually, just get rid of that state gas tax. And Democrats decided not to do it. So we are asking for 6 months, hopefully that permanently, because in California, we had surplus of $47 billion, means that they collected way too much taxes.
What was your surplus again? What was the surplus?
47
$47 billion. That was the
And-
California surplus?
Yes.
And they won't give any gas
And then
relief?
this gas relief is only $8 billion per year. Means that, you have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that's what we are doing and sending the letter. But at the same time, there's a bigger problem. Because since 1994, over 1,000 drilling applications are in there. Not even one permit came out since 1994. Why don't we drill our own land?
Yeah,
What's the problem here?
exactly.
There's no solution without doing that.
Exactly. I know you were thinking the same thing.
Oh gosh, I'm thinking the same thing because Michelle and I, we were able to rally our California entire delegation to send a letter to, to really repeal and suspend that extra 50 cents per gallon that Michelle is talking about. So you talked about this really important, but I just want to echo how crazy Sacramento is. When this bill, our friends in Sacramento, California Republicans had a plan, they had a bill, they introduced it when they were dealing with this in the committee markup. They, instead of working to pass it and suspend it, we're only asking for 6 months.
6
They
months.
6 months.
changed that bill into another high tax increase bill. How crazy is that? So it's really outrageous in California. I've experienced it when I served in the California
You were in the state assembly. Yep.
And this is exactly what they're doing when they have a one-party dominance.
But this is what we're seeing in Washington, too.
Exactly.
If Joe Biden and the Democrats had their way, why isn't Joe, just like they're not drilling in California, Joe Biden won't do it in our country, and the American people are suffering.
And they're blaming Putin. They're blaming the Ukraine crisis.
But haven't you seen those stickers at the gas stations with Joe Biden saying, I did that? Have you seen that? All these people that put...
You know what we are doing? Actually, we are registering people at the gas
at
station.
The gas station.
Yes, that's
exactly.
We're doing that too. We're registering voters at the gas station because people are so mad. But it also reminds them this is the Biden gas hike. But Gavin Newsom's doubling down. You also have a border issue in California.
Yes.
So I think a lot of the issues that the country is seeing under Joe Biden really are represented in California. Let's talk about the border crisis. We know that crossings are incredibly high. We know that drugs are coming across our border. We know that we have a massive amount of weapons that are being seized at our border. There is no law right now. There's no rule of law. What does it mean in your state with what you're seeing?
It means the border crisis is not getting any better. So let me tell you, Rana, I've been down to the border 3 times since I've been in office, not to mention a few more times as I was campaigning. And it's gotten worse. There is human trafficking, which is seriously serious. We need to think about that too, or talk about that. And then the illicit drug activities that is coming through our southern border. The fentanyl is number one reason why we have so many Americans dying between the ages of 18 to 45. We need to address those. And this administration is now trying to eliminate the Title 42, which kept our Border Patrol agents to the overcrowding at the detention centers. Even without those, we have seen over 2.2 million illegal crossers, drug trafficking, fentanyl, the coke, and everything else that you're talking about. We need to put that under control. So I am calling out, telling the Biden administration, get your butts down there. You haven't done that when this person, freshman, has gone down there three times.
And Biden's never been, ever.
Nor our voters are.
No.
Kamala Harris, where is she?
I know.
They need to get down there, and it's past time they take this problem seriously. So I introduced the bill, Southern Border Strategy Act. You know, federal law requires that our federal government come up with the Northern Border Strategy. Northern border strategy, right? But we don't have anything that deals with the southern border. So my legislation, which is gaining a lot of traction right now, is to ensure that Department of Homeland Security comes up with a strategy to deal with this situation at the southern border. And I think you are on it too. And we really need to get handle on this.
We do. And I think, Michelle, I'm going to ask you this because I think it's hard for Republicans and people around the country, not just Republicans, watching the terrible conditions people are traveling to come here. We know that children are being put in harm's way by the coyotes. We know the drugs that are coming here. We know what it's doing to our young generation. What are you seeing from your colleagues across the aisle on an issue like this? They have to know that there's a problem. The Biden administration at the beginning wouldn't even call it a crisis. It's a full-blown crisis.
I know it is.
California is seeing this more than anyone. Do they ask you what you're seeing? Do they even care?
You know what? I just had a town hall meeting yesterday.
Okay.
Only 2 things, gas price and border issue.
Really?
Because border security is our national security. We really have to do something about it. But make it very clear, we are for legal immigration.
Yes.
We are anti-illegal immigration.
Yep.
You know what? As soon as you lift those Title 42, we're going to have 60,000 people just coming through that cross. And then, you know, we're talking about 1.6 million, 2 million people. We're just talking about only caught people. So we have many more. And they're not just coming from South America. They're coming from all over, especially through China. You know, all these drugs coming in through China. I mean, you have to really watch it, and we have to protect our people first. So border security is the most important part. I think President Biden finally realized, so during his State of the Union speech, that, you know what, this is a crisis. But what is the difference? Yesterday is same as today. I mean, we still have these people coming in. We have to stop this.
We want more than rhetoric, for sure.
We do, right?
Oh,
He did say that in the State of the Union, and now he's getting rid of Title 42. So what's he doing? I'm going to switch to another subject that I know you've both been champions on, and I think, especially with your voices and your districts that you represent, which are very Asian districts, you've really taken on the universities and the discrimination specifically against Asian students. Can you talk about that? Universities like Harvard and others.
So in 2014, when I was running for state assembly, this issue has become a really blown issue. There were over 70 very large Asian American organizations that come together to oppose ACA 5 at the time. And we are trying to tell the story that we cannot undermine the hardworking students that want to get into colleges of their choice. It's got to be merit-based. But we have holistic admissions process at Harvard, Yale, places like that. And so I introduced the legislation together with my former colleague in the Senate, Bob Huff, to call out universities like Harvard. It's got to be merit-based, and it is really an undermining of our hardworking students. You know, as parents, I'm a mother of 4. I always tell my children, you work hard, you study hard, you get to colleges that you want. But when they're told you're not going to get there, you don't have a spot, because we need to save that spot for someone else who may not meet the academic standards, but because of their background, ethnicity, because of their gender, they have a spot. And my kids are, because they are hardworking Asian Americans, there are more than 5.0s. They don't get it because of that.
Okay, Young. Come on.
How do you get 5.0?
I'm a tiger mom.
You were a tiger mom. How do you get a 5.0? Can I ask that?
APs, no, international baccalaureate program.
Oh, the IB program.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my kids are not. My kids, you're great. But I didn't know there was a 5.0. I would have been a tiger mom with you. But it was disproportionately discriminating against Asian students. And it was accepted. And you fought that. I know you've been talking about the hate crimes that have been up in the Asian community as well. Can you talk about that and what you've seen, especially with these prosecutors, these defund the police?
Exactly.
How is that hurting prosecute these types of crimes that we're seeing?
So let's just go back to the university.
Yeah.
And they tried to bring that discrimination back to California. So 2020, we had a Proposition 16.
Okay.
That's not just discriminating admissions of university admissions, but you know what? Everything, job applications and contracts and everything. It failed. So they keep bringing up, you know what, this country, we have so many different people living in here, like first generation like us. And you know what, it has to be fair, and we had to be admitted by merit basis. And then hate crime, actually 2 weeks ago that I testified at Judiciary Committee in U.S. Senate with Senator Tim Scott. And we really have to stop that. When I was Board of Supervisor chair in Orange County, we actually introduced the resolution. At that time, they were targeting a lot of Jewish community, anti-Semites. So we tried to stop that. Now that, you know, you're looking at these faces, I don't know how we're going to discriminate these people. I have 1/4 Korean grandkids. I have now 2 kids because my second one just had a baby 1 week ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Her
I'm
second one is coming.
One. It could be today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're going to have 2 grandkids? You guys do
Our
not
kids
look like
are-
grandmas. I'm sorry.
But
You
our
look
kids are having kids at the same time.
Yeah.
We did the same thing too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You guys kind of.
So how are they going to count these kids? I mean, what? You know, 3/4 Irish and 1/4 Korean. How are they going to mark on their applications?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sometime that, you know, I think we have to stop this.
Yeah.
So we have to stop hate crime. We have to stop discrimination against Asian Americans for admissions. Hopefully that Supreme Court is going to, you know, come out, that, you know, what kind of result is going to come out. But we should not rely on the court. We have to know. It's all common sense.
Yeah,
don't
it
you
is common
think?
sense.
Yeah.
I still can't get over the 5.0. I'm still like in my head, I'm like listening to you, Michelle, and I'm like, wait, 5.0. That's amazing. You guys are such great.
Young. Your kids got 5.0. Cheyenne got 4.5 now. Okay. So I couldn't believe 5.0.
4.59 is really good.
The thing is, when you go to high schools that provide international baccalaureate programs, they make you go through the AP programs and stuff. But the important thing is, it's only at that high school with the IB programs. When you apply for colleges, A is an A, B is a B.
You're exactly right.
Right? So
and every state's the same.
Exactly.
They don't say, well,
After
this
I
state has
witnessed-
this public schools this way. But being moms, being tiger moms, that's the phrase,
Yes.
right? I'm called the helicopter mom. So that's a different phrase. But I mean, what do you think about what we've seen happen to our kids during the pandemic, and especially in California? I think you've got kids that are still being forced to wear masks in your state.
Yeah.
And the freedoms, I think about this a lot. Our kids, for the first time in a small way, understood what it means to have your freedom taken away when you have to wear a mask every day in school. And if you take it off, you're kicked out, you're done, even though the science was not supporting that. What do you think about the kids in your school and how they've been adversely impacted by a governor who cares more about the teachers unions, who's still out not wearing a mask himself? They're all living their own different rules for them, and then doing this to our kids.
Well, first of all, governor never took government class in high school. He doesn't even know there's 3 branches of government. Let's begin with. And you know what? Do we remember any calculus that we took during the high school? No, we don't.
No.
We remembered our friends and all those social acting that what you were doing. Governor actually damaged our kids for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just forever damaged. So what happened in Orange County is we had a Hebrew Academy. They never shut down. And then the other schools that they shut down, and they took the test. All these kids took the test together. And Hebrew Academy, their test score was much, much higher.
Really?
Not just social acting and making friends, but those public schools that they shut down, they had much, much lower grade, because how many hours that they can sit just staring at screen and learning, especially 4, 5, 6-year-old
It was
kids.
so wrong for our kids.
It's totally
it was so
wrong.
wrong. But Democrats like to turn the page. This is over. It's over. And they don't understand, and I think we understand, there are residual effects long-term on our kids for Democrat policies that didn't give our kids the education they deserve. But you're right, Michelle. They don't remember calculus. They remember they missed homecoming and they didn't get to go to prom.
I know, dresses, and then, had so much fun. But so education committee that we are introducing the Parental Rights Act, because parents know about their kids more than any school board members or even teachers. And we cannot call our parents domestic terrorists.
Correct.
Let's stop at some place,
Yes.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you
No,
gonna say?
along the same lines, I wanted to talk about the legislation that I'm really passionate about, because again, like I said, I'm a mother of 4 grown kids, and now I'm a grandma. I'm
I still can't
expecting the
believe that,
second
yeah.
one. But during the pandemic, we have seen our Americans, especially women, youth, young adults, being hurt because of the suicide. The
Yes,
thoughts.
that's right.
So I have a bill. It's called the Suicide Prevention Act. And I really wanted to make sure that as a mom, as a grandma, seeing how other families are struggling and suffering because watching their young children who commit suicide because they just can't, deal with the pressure. Especially, it's been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that we provide our support, provide more funding and resources, so that we can come up with the programs that will be helpful in the suicide
I
prevention.
love that. How's that bill doing right now?
Well, we introduced it. We're
Okay.
gaining traction. I think it's a bipartisan legislation. It's something that Kathy McMorris Rogers and
Okay.
I and a few other Republicans Republican members have introduced together. But I think this really shows the importance of us making sure that we raise awareness of especially helping one another, women, right?
Yep.
Especially youth, young adults, especially women who are having children.
I love that you're doing
Those
that.
the maternal issues, the mental issues, trying to stop suicide thoughts and making sure that we come up with the prevention programs. It's critically important.
Because we came out of a pandemic and a lot of kids are still in a mental health pandemic.
Yes.
And I think the Democrats have said, oh, we're going to send the money to the schools and to the unions, and they're forgetting the mental health component for the kids, and they really do need that support. I love that you're doing that. I know you guys have to get back to votes, so I'm going to just end. I want to end with I want to hear from each of you, but I will say this, the love I have for this country as I travel this country just expounds every day as I meet amazing people like you, and I'm so impressed with the American dream and seeing that come to life in people's stories. This election's going to determine whether this country stays the country we love and that country that provides that opportunity. What has being an American and being able to come to this country and become a congresswoman meant to you? And what does this election mean for you?
Oh my goodness. I mean, the fact that Michelle and I are here serving in Congress together, the fact that we had so many dynamic women elected in our class
You do.
serving together.
It's a good class.
And the fact that
21.
we have so many outstanding candidates running in this election cycle. And I'm serving as vice chair of the NRCC recruitment committee.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been going around talking to so many qualified, awesome candidates. This really shows the fact that we can do this. Immigrants like us, it really shows that American dream is real. I always say GOP is the Grand Opportunity Party. It's the party that gives immigrants like us chance to succeed, a chance to realize the American dream, chance to explore the opportunity and be able to have a seat at the table, have a voice, and encourage others, especially young girls and women, that we can do this. You can do better.
I love it. I love it. Michelle.
You know what? Stop whining. Just run and go out there because we have so many dynamic women.
Yeah.
And you have to hear everybody's stories. I mean, it's just amazing.
Isn't it
and
amazing?
We have great candidates out there too. So love to support them. But I just want to say thank you to you.
Right.
You opened the first community center in my district
did.
in
Yeah, we did.
Westminster. You know what they're doing? They're practicing Vietnamese dancing. And they are bringing their own food and they share the issues together in that office. And that's going to be connected to next vote because next campaign. And I'm just so grateful.
Thank
And
you.
you are embracing these minority communities that they are not going out there and speak up. There, they can speak up and they want us to hear. And we are hearing. I always tell younger kids exactly same what Young said. We did it. I think you can do much better.
Wow. I love that.
And the fact that we have a woman leading our RNC in the state of California, Jessica Patterson.
yes.
Young, dynamic,
She's
under
so great.
40.
Yep. Dynamic, very dynamic.
Think about this. Our party is such a big tent. We can bring in so many more of us together. And I just can't wait till November. Because at that time, we're going to shock the world. We're going to take back the House and we're going to lead from a position of strength with ideas, initiatives. And I just can't wait.
I can't wait either. You're getting me so excited.
And then we're going to crush our opponents.
Oh, we're
Let me promise you that.
we're going to crush our opponents. Well, I can't think of a better way to end this except just to say thank you both. I've loved getting to know you. When you first ran in 2018, I've known you with your national committee with your husband and obviously being in Congress. But thank you for being such great leaders for our party. We're so grateful to have you both. And anybody listening or watching, go donate to their campaigns and make sure that we reelect them in 2022. Thank you
for
both.
Congress, Michelle for Congress.
Okay, good. We'll put it up on this screen. We'll make sure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on Real America.
Thanks for your leadership, too.
Thank you.
I'm Ronna McDaniel, and this is what Republicans stand for. Join us next time on Real America.